Hi friends, I had a patient request yesterday the recipe for making homemade mayonnaise. I know the manual has in section 1 under the fats veganase, and a lot of people of course ask what veganase is, and you can buy it commercially. You can buy it through Amazon, Whole Foods, Earth Fare, sometimes Publix, but you got to be careful with Publix, Food City, and those type of places like Ingles and Walmart, because a lot of their mayonnaise and veganase will have sugar in it or a form of sugar. So I jumped online and I started researching how to make homemade mayonnaise. Now, here's the thing. Most commercial mayonnaise are going to include a preservative called EDTA. And it's actually quite a toxic preservative. It's all chemical based, of course. And it's quite toxic once your body accumulates it over a period of months or weeks or whatever. So when I looked up the mayonnaise, it's quite tasty if you make it yourself. I do not recommend making it with aromatic oils like extra virgin olive oil. Even though you might think it's healthy, and it's a very healthy oil and fat to have, it just does not taste good with mayonnaise in my opinion. So I would tend to opt for a more bland oil like grapeseed oil. In fact, that's what I tested mine and I kept making different runs with it, so to speak. I use grapeseed oil. And a real basic recipe is to take a large egg or an extra large egg. If you have a lot of mayonnaise to use a large or an extra large. If you don't, you can use a medium or small, and then correspondingly scale back your oil. So a good general recipe, and this is best made with an immersion blender, by the way. If you stick it in a regular blender, you could also do a bullet. It probably would work well in a bullet. But I wouldn't use a regular blender for it because it would splatter all over and make a big mess. If you had an immersion blender, if you have a bullet, like a magic bullet, a smaller one, not the big NutriBullet, but a smaller one, it would work really well. But you want to put in, I do a large egg, then I put in 3/4 cup in oil. Just make sure you get it pretty darn close. If you want it a little thinner, you just add more oil. If you want it a little thicker, you add less oil. So you could go anywhere between a half, 2/3 or 3/4 cup of oil to kind of adjust your thickness of it. So all you're going to do is you're going to add your egg. You're going to add a half to a 3/4 cup of oil. Then you're going to put in the juice of fresh lemon. I would use at least a half of a lemon. Roll it on a hard surface, cut it in half, take your juice press, manual juice press. You can buy them at Walmart for $6 or $7. Put your lemon juice in there as well. Then you can put in your spices. Maybe it's paprika, maybe it's just pepper or salt. You know, all I do is paprika and salt. And it's pretty darn good because when you add that acid, it gives it a really good flavor. And even though lemon juice is a little bit of acts as a little bit of preservative and antioxidant, it won't last forever. So you basically want to use what you make up pretty darn quick. So with an immersion blender, you buy a beaker. It's either a glass beaker or it's a stainless steel one. I bought stainless steel ones on Amazon just because they're non-reactive and they're cleaner. But then you just use your immersion blender and it literally blends up in a few seconds. It doesn't take long at all. And then you chill it to thicken it and you're done. That quick. And do your salt, do your paprika to taste. You're talking about a pinch of salt, pinch of paprika, not a whole lot. It's all to taste, but it's very quick. It's very easy to do. It takes literally seconds. You can have it made in under 2 minutes easily, just even getting all of your ingredients out. So there you go. Play with it if you will. If that's not your cup of tea, no big deal. Then buy a jar of it at the store. But you can buy veganase in the form of avocado, coconut, or olive oil. Those are the most common. I've never seen grapeseed oil. And just so you know, I'm not a big fan of coconut oil. It just didn't taste good. It was just almost like a little bit too bitter. But when you buy olive oil, that's my favorite, or avocado oil, commercially, they're good. And the reason is, commercially, the olive oil is not extra virgin. It's not very flavorful. It's kind of bland. It's like a third or fourth press. That's why there's no flavor in it. And that's why I made the distinction between commercial olive oil veganase versus the kind I made at home. I used extra virgin. That's all we have, and it was just way too flavorful, too aromatic. So it just doesn't taste good. So use grapeseed oil if you're going to make it from scratch, and then have at it the different flavors that you can buy, or different varieties you can buy at the store. Hope this helps, and have a blessed day.